trying to stream it on my computer and on the phone at the same time, so I don't know how much of a delay there is. Never done this. What's going on? I don't see it. Do I have to refresh this? Ah, it's working. All right. All right, so it looks like there's about like a 3 second delay or two. I don't know. Whatever. What does this do? Sorry, I'm going to play around with this because I've never done this before. This is the piece. It looks very underwhelming in this lighting. Why? Why? Hold on. Let me see something. Does this help? No. All right, well, what are we going to do? Just going to maybe adjust this a little. Oh, maybe? No? How's it look on your end? Can you hear me? Can you give me a thumbs up down in the chat if you can hear me? I don't know if this is coming through. Oh, I guess I could turn up the volume on here, huh? Let me see. Okay, I have no controls on here. Darn it. Technical difficulties. Can you hear me? Oh, gotta love it. Hey, whatever. First time. Gotta let people join in anyway. I just sent out a broadcast that should have went out. Yeah, it looks like it went out. Anybody? Nobody's opened it yet, so it's only gone out 2 minutes ago. I'm going to make a post on LinkedIn while I'm live here. Live posting on LinkedIn. And we're live. Yeah, I don't know. That looks great. Yep, I'll do that. Sorry, you're watching me not know what I'm doing. All right, posting that. I don't even know if anybody's here watching me, so. Oh, you can't hear me. Oh, dang. All right, let me see why. Now unmute. I don't know if that worked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the page that I built this on. I'm going to go to edit page. I'm going to turn the controls on. Save. I'll type to you because you can't hear me. All right, we're refreshing together. I don't know if this is working. It was muted. I don't know if this is yes, got it now. All right, so now we've got controls. You can unmute yourself. So what happened was when I built it, that gives you an option if I can show the controls like pause, mute, skip ahead and back and all that stuff. I had it turned off. My bad. But now it should be working. I have it muted on mine, obviously, because then you'd hear me twice and nobody here wants to hear my voice more than once. And you can hear me there. Okay. All right. Well, anybody that basically comes next and shows up to the page will be able to see it. So, Amber, I appreciate you showing up. Looks like you and I are the only ones hanging out today. People on LinkedIn, I guess, leaving me hanging. All right, I posted it. Let's see what goes on. Hoping a few more people show up. If not, I'll just put this replay up on the page for anybody that wants to, anybody that's in the early drop list, early drop club, they can see this. I am wearing my boot camp glasses, as you can see. Best pair of glasses I've ever owned. Not the prettiest. I've had like 3 or 4 pairs of glasses since I was in the Navy, and this is the only one that survived the whole time. I mean, a couple of them got lost. I think one fell off my face into the Long Island Sound while we were sailing, but I don't remember. But I really need to go out and get contacts because this is what I look like in real life without my BCGs on, as they call them, birth control glasses. Let's see. Okay, a few people. Hopefully some people show up, but I am super appreciative that you are here because without you, I'd be talking to a wall. Not that I haven't done that before in like all the other videos that I make on Instagram, but I'm going to jump onto this YouTube, oh, nope, feed and see if other people are watching it there, because that's possible too. Although I do have it as, dang it. Copy, paste. All right. Sorry, this is like super unprofessional. Oh, sorry, this is like super unprofessional. See, sound works. We've got no one, or okay, so no chat there. I'm just gonna pop this out, pop out chat, and then I'm gonna go to this page. Oh man, I am. What an amateur! Who let this guy run a show? All right. Well, I've got my little pop-up chat here, and looks like it's working. So, Amber, I'm not sure which Amber you are, so don't take offense to that. But I really appreciate you joining me. Okay. So I'm just going to talk for anybody that watches the replay. I don't know if I can trim this after, so they may have to sit through all of that. Sorry, guys. But you get to see my art and my subpar live video skills. So I figured I'd start off by telling you, if you haven't seen or read my story, which you can get a snippet of it in Blue Ridge Outdoors magazine, which is pretty cool. But anywho, that handsome guy right there. Yeah. So about 5 years ago, I was in a really, really bad mental place. I was in a really dark place, and art basically saved me from myself. So after the Navy, I landed a 6-figure job at the power company. Apparently, the position I landed was like a coveted position in the company, and I was excited. I was chasing the money, so it seemed like perfect. Like, oh yeah, like 6 figures straight out of the Navy. That's awesome. But the problem is, I was working rotating 12-hour shifts, so it was like, and I was working them like 5 to 7 days a week. So I like never had time to see my family or friends or do anything that I wanted to do. Plus, like, it wasn't just my wife and I; it was my wife and my 2 kids. So you know, it was just it was really brutal, and it really took a toll on me mentally. Um, but if you know me, I'm not like a big social media person. I don't like social media. It has its purpose, obviously, but I was on the verge of getting rid of my phone and going to a flip phone. And but I had downloaded Instagram for whatever reason, and I saw people doing woodworking, and I was like, oh man, like I need to like do something to like get me out of this kind of funk I was in. And so I started making things, and I started making these art pieces, and that like dark mental place I was in like completely vanished. And you know I'm incredibly grateful for that, um, because it really did, save me from myself. So I kept getting immersing myself in art, and really chasing after it. Um, I was making all sorts of things: mountain scenes, beach scenes. It started with beach scenes because we lived on Long Island, grew up there, and beach was like kind of part of life. It just um, seemed natural to start there, and it it wasn't until so if I'm a bad storyteller. I'm sorry, but if you backtrack, while I was in the Navy, my wife and I, every time that we had a little bit of time off, we would drive out. We lived in Virginia. We would drive out to the Blue Ridge Mountains, and we would go park next to the Maury River, which is just outside Lexington, Virginia. Absolutely gorgeous. Um, it was like right in a valley, and we would just hang out there like every month or so. We would drive there. It's like a 4-hour drive. We'd hang out there all day. We'd spend the weekend at a bed and breakfast. It was like that was like our happy place, if you want to call it that. And then fast forward to where I was in my terrible storytelling. I had a client reach out to me. They're in Massachusetts, and they were like, "Hey, I saw that you do beach pieces. Are you able to do river pieces?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh! Like, why haven't I done that? That is like where like I'm the happiest is like at rivers." So, um, I told them my idea and how I would do that, and that's kind of how this type of like the river pieces that you've seen me make. That's where they were born from. So theirs was like a massive piece. It was actually a 22-foot bar top, that I hand delivered to Massachusetts. That was quite a quite a project. Um, but the more rivers I made, the more people tended to want wall art, and I love the wall. I think it looks amazing up on a wall. And then you don't have the risk of, damage and stuff like that. Um, but anyway, uh, so I started making more river pieces, all different styles. If you've seen my gallery, if you're here, I'm assuming you've seen my gallery. You follow me on social media somewhere. Um, Started making lots of different styles. But I basically went into a zone where I was only taking commission work. Um, and about a month ago, or a month and a half ago at this point, um, well, this year, like in the beginning of the year, I got a flurry of orders. And I was at one point in this, at one point in the beginning of the year, I was working on 7 custom projects. They were all different, all at the same time. They all, you know, were exciting to me. And since I was basically only doing commission work at the time, um, I thought it was a great idea to take all those on. And it was like a huge mistake. Um, each project wound up taking longer than it should have, honestly, like much longer. Um, it was really hard for me to concentrate on a project because I would make a little project on this one, a little project progress. I mean, on this one, a little progress on this one, a little progress on this one, and they would all kind of incrementally move forward, but not where it would like be really something I'd be like, oh, it's almost done. And so basically, like a long story short, I like burned myself out because I didn't give myself any time to, create the pieces like I used to, like where they were just in my head and I'd be like, oh, that's awesome. Let me do that. And I was just swamped with only custom orders. Now, don't get me wrong, I love custom orders. Some of the coolest ideas I've had have come from, interactions with clients and, them like the river idea. Like, if had I not been taking custom orders, I would never have, I wouldn't have jumped into river pieces so soon. I probably would have, there would have been a delay in that. Um, hey, Amber, now I know. Um, if you're watching this live, there's a chat box. If you're watching the replay, there, I don't know if the chat box will still be there, but um, Amber was clarifying that she was Amber Williams, and I'm I'm an idiot. So anyway, so I burned myself out, and I literally walked away from art completely. I even had like a whole nother business idea that I was going to go with, and I started building out funnels for it, and I was going to launch it in December. Um, but I think it was about 4 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks completely away from art. Like, I had completely moved on and I was, um, completely focused on the other thing. And I just felt like like something was missing. I felt like this hole, this void, to use a cliche word, but it was like I needed to do this. And, before the Navy, my life, I was a very creative person. Before the Navy, I always wrote music. I wrote music for years, played in bands and stuff like that. The band didn't make it, if you didn't know by now. Um, but I never knew I'd be into art. Like, this happened to me. I kind of like fell into this. So, but not doing this, not having this creative outlet again, kind of, set me back again. And um, I realized it's like, you know, I was going about it all wrong, and I was not giving myself the space that I need to create these pieces. Even though I was taking custom orders, it's I love custom orders, but I also need to give myself the space to do things like this. This isn't something somebody ordered. This has been an idea. I've actually had a couple people reach out for similar ideas, and I kind of like, this is what comes to mind. It's like this style piece. So it's like, finally, like, I'm just gonna make the stuff on my own. So if you go back like years into this like art journey thing, some of the first few projects I did was like, business signs for just local businesses on Long Island. And I would always this wood is burned, and um, it's a technique. It's an old Japanese technique called shusugiban. I think that's how you pronounce it. But I did so many projects back then because I mean I just love I love the smell of burning wood, like campfires. Like, that is just, we have, a fire pit out front, and I love just sitting out there with fire. I don't need to do anything. I can just sit there, enjoy the fire, enjoy the smell, and just relax. Really, it's like, other than being like literally at a river, like just sitting with like a campfire or the fire pit is just like the most relaxing thing. So this idea had been in my head, and I figured like that's the idea I need to make first. I used to do so many projects that included like burning wood, and I always found joy in those projects. Like, they are some of the coolest looking projects. I'll have to post up on my page just like a look back at a bunch of the burn projects that have to do with this. But um you know, getting to do this again was like it was like bringing me back. So, I got to smell the burning wood. It like smells so awesome. And then so it's a bunch of like all the wood is charred. And then the final step for that shu sugiban process is, putting an oil finish on it. So I'm like pushing all the charred wood into the grain, and it just like it was dark before, but then when you do that, it makes it this like silky jet black, and the deep blue river against it. So like I'm gonna see if I can move this in a way where nope, this way. Yeah. Terrible live video guy, but I can't even see if I'm doing this right. There we go. I'm hoping that deep blue is coming through the way it does in real life. In real life. Again, like I said, no idea what I'm doing right now. This is first time. So hopefully this look good. I didn't have the this thing here, but let's see. All right, I'm gonna go like this. Maybe center that a little more. Does that work, or does that make it go up? It didn't really do anything. Oh, you can't see it because of that stupid light up there. That's what's going on. If I move it closer, get a little closer to me. I don't know. Can I focus? Probably not. It's the forward facing camera. Anyway, but long story short, like I said, not a great storyteller by any stretch of the imagination, but long story short, I knew I needed to get back into creating art, and I wanted this piece to really represent like some of my favorite things. Um, so the burning wood, like love, absolutely love the smell of it when I make this. This is like probably one of the most or the most enjoyable piece that I've made, because getting to burn the wood and having that smell plus using that. I mean, this in person. I wish you could just be here, but the the deep blue with the sand underneath and the stones. Like I love this stone. This stone's my favorite, but it's just the word that comes to mind, and I hope this like makes sense. It's like striking. The contrast is like striking. It super high gloss, like ultra high gloss resin, and then a silky matte finish on the wood, and it's just a jet black. Like man, and then the walnut around it is just like a nice, elegant. I don't know if you could see it. Yeah, you could see it a little down here. Just like an elegant, deep brown. Whoever gets this piece is really getting one of the closest pieces to me and my heart. It it really does. Like this piece really encompasses like me and who I am and the things that I love. So um, there's not a lot of people on here, so I planned on doing like a thank you, Amber. I planned on doing like opening up the floor for questions and things like that. Um, but if nobody wants to, doesn't show, it shows online users, and it's me and you, Amber. So you stuck with me through this whole thing, and I really appreciate it. Um, let's see, anybody coming in? No. Oh well, can't win them all. But you know what? Let me see something here. If I go into the event, hmm, All right, I just put the link in there for anybody that doesn't want to put their email in, so they can just get a direct thing. I don't know who's gonna show up now, and I've kind of spoken for quite a while here. Let me see. Are there? Well, Amber, you're here, so are there any questions you have that you wanted to ask um, about the piece or my process for this or anything like that? Um, or any, you can put some suggestions for pieces that you'd like to see, if any. Um, I'm always open to suggestions, even if it's not somebody commissioning a piece. It helps me be even more creative when I hear what other people want. Hmm. Wonder if there's more people and it's just not showing me. That's possible because it's all streaming through one page. But I'm not gonna get my hopes up there. First one, terrible launch. So, and only one person opened the email about coming to this. They didn't click on the link. Uh, oh well. Well, since it's just me and Amber, I think I'm gonna pull this down and I'm gonna put a video up of me making the piece on this page for anybody that uh, I don't know if I'm gonna redo or put this live thing up. I'm not sure. Um, I guess whoever comes here will be able to see, and I might be talking to no one since nobody's gonna see this possibly. So who knows? All right. Well, Amber, I appreciate you sticking with me through this. Gosh, you stayed with me for half an hour here. That's incredible. No, that's dedication. Thank you so much. Um, let's see if anybody else jumps in after I posted that. Uh, hmm, I don't know how to see. Where is this now? Shows just one person still. What size is? Oh, I didn't see that there was a chat there. Oh, the YouTube chat. I'm sorry. It disappeared on me here. Ah, I just closed it too. Yeah, I'm dumb. Pop out chat. Here we go. And where do I go back to this thing? You are watching technical. I'm surprised I was able to make all of this work. This is just, this is a learning experience for me, getting all these, the pages up and the galleries and the live video streaming through the page and everything. Like, it's been an awesome learning experience, but obviously I have a lot to learn. How big, how small, what sizes do you usually make? So I prefer to make the larger ones. They allow a lot more space for stone placement, um, rapids, and things like that. I was originally going to release two pieces today, as I had shared originally, but the are you able to? I can't hear and hear you too. Oh, if you refresh this page and unmute. Um, sorry, train of thought. Um, Dang it, that chat thing keeps disappearing. Am I able to like keep this on the top here? No, probably not. Okay, so what I was saying is I like to make the larger pieces. I keep this, I am so bad at this. There we go. Um, I like to make the larger pieces. Like I said, it allows for more stone placement, um, lots of rapids, bigger pieces of wood, so like more wood grain is there. It just overall, there's a lot more room for creativity in the larger ones. I do smaller ones. The the other piece, like I said, I was going to be releasing today. I wasn't able to finish it on time, so I'm gonna do another drop like next week or in 2 weeks, something like that. Um, from one of the collections that I already have up. It's actually going to be the Pristine collection. Um, I believe it a 12 by 16, so it'll be a smaller one. Um, I love that collection. That one's awesome. I've only got a little bit of um, that wood left. It's maple burl, and it's like got so much figure in the grain. It's just beautiful, and it's really hard to find that wood with as much um, figure as that wood has. But so, not sure if I fully answered the question. I love making these big ones. I will be making smaller ones as well. Um, I'll probably make a smaller one of these too because I still have more of this wood. And the way this wood worked, this is maple. Not that you could tell because it's black, but this piece of maple specifically, it is a very calm grain, um, and like a semi-interesting shape to it, like a natural flowing shape to it. So it's like really perfect for, since it doesn't have like wild grain, it's really perfect for burning and kind of like um, it's the word I'm looking for, like kind of like mashing in the ash that's on here with the oil to make it that, you know, kind of like velvety black. Um, and it's completely dry now because it's not coming off on my hands. So that's really good. Because last night, I mean, I literally finished this yesterday. So I was really down to the wire on this piece. And I wanted to make sure that I got this piece done, um, like without having to rush it and stuff while also trying to get another piece done. It wasn't going to make sense. So I just decided to push that one off, get the one out that was like super important to me, and it's a new style. Kind of put it out to the world. Um, yeah. So the one coming out would be the Pristine Collection, a 12 by 16. Um, and uh, I have some other types of wood that I've been wanting to use. So basically, for my rivers, I tend to use walnut, which is this brown. I make almost all of my frames out of walnut. It's a very like elegant look, and the dark brown when you add the oil like really ties like every type of river I've made. It ties it all together. It's an earthy color. It's a river. It works. Um, the Pristine collection is maple as well, but it's maple burl, so it has like crazy grain lines in it. Um, and then I use for that collection specifically, I use like this solution that makes the wood age. So if you've seen um, like the grade wood, um, the grade wood look, uh, I kind of force the wood to take on that grade look in the Pristine collection. And then I use a deep blue like this. This is deeper blue than the Pristine one I put out. There, it's there's always going to be a variance for how much or how dark the blue is on the river pieces. But this one, I added a lot of pigment because I wanted it to just be this like super deep blue. Um, gosh, I'm gonna bring it close to it one more time, so maybe you could see. I'm gonna look on my screen and see if it works here. There's a big delay now, I guess, because it froze. But And see probably the mess in the reflection because I have a big shelf that's holding everything that was in the closet up there. But oh, I love this rock. This stone is just so cool looking. So this one was cool too. This one where there's like a piece of the stone underneath, and I think there was another one like that too. But um, anywho, I'm gonna bring it a little closer, get that light out of the. So I'm watching it now with the delay that has occurred, and you can't really see the sand underneath in the video. But I believe if you scroll down, you can see it in some of the pictures. Yeah, you can see it in the pictures down below. Um, so this one's 48 inches wide, so 4 feet wide by 24 inches tall, 2 feet tall, and it's an inch and a half deep. And type of hanging hardware on the back, it's called a French cleat, and it hangs flush against the wall. Doesn't hang flush against this wall because this wall, when I put up that, if you saw the picture that I had original or that I posted originally, there's the bigger piece which is actually out in our room now. When I put that up and I hung the French cleat on the wall, this wall has a huge bow in it that I didn't realize. So it still hangs. I attached the cleat so that it would hang properly without risk of falling or anything. But the wall is bowed, so it can't hang flush on this wall, unfortunately. However, when I had everything hanging out in my shop, all the pieces were hanging nice and flush against the wall. It looks really nice. Plus, it's easy to remove. It's just you just lift it straight up. The cleats. One piece is like this, the other piece is like this, and they just sit into each other. So it's you know super simple. And the weight to it makes it so that it's not just going to come off the wall. And I left a little bit of space on each side so that when you hang the piece, if you need to slide it back and forth, to adjust it a couple inches either way, um, it has the ability to do that. So I try and create these art pieces with a little bit of um, thought about the person hanging them. I know when I hang stuff, like there's always like, oh man, it's off just a little bit. It's almost always on the first try. So like, it may be level, but it's like I thought it would look like this. So I made it so that you can just shimmy it over either way. Um, and there is a thing that I'm going to start putting on the bottom of these to make it so that um, once the piece is hung, you basically turn it and it'll lock it in place so that like if somebody, I mean, hopefully this wouldn't happen, but if somebody were to come in and try and steal it, or like people were roughhousing and knocked into it or whatever, it would lock it to the wall. I mean, these have some weight to them, so they're not going anywhere, but it's just a little added security, especially because I had an art curator, not a curator, maybe curator, maybe that's what the name is. But she came and she had a commercial client that was looking for art, and basically I would have to send the piece to her so that her company can install that type of hardware on the back. And I just figured like I can just start doing that myself if people want it. Um, but yeah, if you haven't picked up this issue of Blue Ridge Outdoors magazine, I mean I like this magazine to begin with, um, but this kind of gives you I did an interview with them. I told them my story and like my process. And the woman who wrote it up, this woman Ellen, she did such an amazing job um, with this write up. And I'm this talk about bad storytelling. So this was when this showed up in the mail. Um, this was kind of the catalyst for me remembering like why I do this and you know why I don't want to stop creating art pieces. Um, it was like reading my own story like reminded me like this is what you've been missing, like you know, look at how far God has taken you from that dark place to where you are now, and to just like move on from that, like it really didn't feel good. So, like, the frustration led me to moving to something else that seemed like it would be a better move, but really, like, this is where I need to be. Like, you won't see me in like. I feel bad. My wife's probably gonna hear me, but I mean, like the other night, she was in here while I was kind of like setting the stones and stuff, and I get into like a zone, and I have like a podcast I listen to on, and I always listen to this podcast, but especially when I'm doing this portion of it, and I felt bad because she was in there, and I didn't want to, have the earbuds in and listening to the podcast and stuff, and I just like couldn't, for whatever reason, I couldn't bring this all together. I like turned to her and I was like, "Can I be really mean?" She's like, "What?" I was like, "Can I kick you out of here?" I was like, "I can't do this. I don't know why." It's just one of those like I just sometimes when I make these rivers, the rocks, like when I put them down, they just go into place and it's like, that's it. This one took me hours to figure out where I wanted to put these stones. I mean, I, I didn't record the whole thing because that would have killed all the memory, but like there were so many times where I had like groupings of stones here and then I like took them all out and over here. I'm like, it took me a long time. And even even after I had like, kicked my wife out of the room, I feel really bad. But it's just one of those things where you just like I get into the like I set myself up in this like zone. Um, Anybody that's into marketing knows Russell Brunson, or if you know Tony Robbins, they call it state control, where it's like you get yourself into this frame of mind and into this like mental state where it's like, people do it for work, people do it for when they get home from work, when and they see their kids, they get themselves amped up so they're not like walking into the house all tired and stuff from work. It's like the kids don't care that you were at work all day tired. They want to see energetic dad, energetic mom, like, so you got to like try and control that. It's called state control. So it's one of the things that I kind of do, and I didn't realize I was doing it until I was doing this piece. But it's always the same. I always have it, in my shop. I normally do these at night. Sometimes it's during the day, but the layout and stuff like that, the kids are already asleep. I'm kind of in there by myself. I've got my earbuds in. I'm listening to that podcast, um, and it's just like the way things flow for me. And um, I don't know. I'm just talking because Amber's brave enough to stay here, or whoever's watching right now is brave enough to stay here and hear me ramble. So congratulations. um, but I don't know. I know that this is what I need to be doing. If I need to make 100 more of these pieces before enough people see it, that's fine. I've walked away from it, and I knew that wasn't the right thing to do. So I'm just gonna keep making them and pushing them out, and I'm removing the pressure from myself of tons of commissions. So my plan moving forward is to do a release like this once a month, um, or once every 2 months, depending on the size. Like I will be making a very large piece. I mean, I've got a large piece sitting out there now that was hanging in here before this one. That one's large. It's 5 feet by 2.5 feet. The next one, or not the next one I'm making, but I'm going to be making one that's even larger than that. I won't be able to hang it in here. This room is not big enough. It'll be really cool though. That'll stay up in my shop, or put it in the gallery unless somebody buys it during the launch. Um, but you like this no logo hat? It had a patch here, and it was coming off a little bit, so I like peeled it off. My plan for this is stupid. This has nothing to do with my art, but my plan for this is I'm gonna paint this circle, probably white, and then I'm gonna either I draw these stupid little faces. I've been drawing them for years. Um, gosh, probably since middle school. I've been drawing these stupid cartoon faces. They're like kind of like The Simpsons, but not really. It's like giant noses and whatever. Um, I might paint this white and then draw that guy on it, or I might just put my signature on it or whatever, kind of like make it my hat until I get my next hat. Um, but yeah. So the other thing that I want to do for people, I need to sign off. Oh, thanks so much for coming. I typed it first because that'll go through instantly, and this has a delay. I don't know what the delay is, but thank you. I appreciate you spending the time with me, um, and being brave enough to listen to me yammer on for 45 minutes. Oh man. But thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to see, is there a pause on this? Probably not. I don't know how to do this. I'm not a YouTube streamer. No, I can't. All right. So I'm going to download this, I think, and then chop it up so you don't see a bunch of my like random gaffes and like the whole beginning part where I didn't know anything was going on. So if you're watching this now and it's the replay, just understand you missed a lot of me not knowing what the hell I'm doing. I still have no idea what the hell I'm doing. So I've where I am right now. You have joined me in my new office, which is I call it the closet because it's the master bedroom closet, and I turned it into an office. So there's like I'm gonna be um, making one of these into a desk. So it's going to be obviously a little different construction. There's going to be glass. So it's either going to be a full pane of tempered glass over the whole thing, um, but this will be deep enough where the rocks won't affect it. So it'll have to be, excuse me, a few inches thick. Um, but the or the other option is it'll still be just as thick, but the glass would be cut to fit just over this portion and the inset there. So I haven't decided yet, but that'll be my desk, and that'll be one of the kind of newer furniture offerings I do um, for desks and tables, coffee tables, and things like that. So earlier on, I mentioned like so it doesn't get damaged. Like obviously, if people are using something and it's made of wood, there's chance for damage, right? Um, Especially something like this where it has, this is very velvety. I can feel it. You can't feel it yet, but um, I wouldn't want something like this to go unprotected. So for like a piece like this, I'd probably do a full pane of glass. Whereas if it was just raw wood with a finish on it, I would do the custom cut glass. Anyway, point of me saying that is the bar top I made was and that most people make. They're all encapsulated in resin. That type of finish, though, it's one that like if it's just completely resin, it will get scratched, and especially if it's covering art, the tendency for people to scratch a piece of furniture is high. So, I with furniture, I think I'm going to be specifically doing just glass over the top, just to give it the most protection. So, like the wood can handle itself, but and I think like bumps and bruises in wood kind of add character. I'm not against like that, but this portion, like I'd rather protect that with some glass than a bunch of resin that'll get scratched up. Um, is there anybody out there? I know Amber had to go. It looks like it's just me watching. I'm going to refresh the page and see. And still just me watching. I'm watching me. Oh well. Top chat? Oh, I want it to be live chat. No, it's the same thing. All right. Well, if you made it this far, which nobody did, it's just me. Uh, I'm going to be putting together a better video to put on this page. Um, that's kind of my plan for today, is working on a video, getting that video live as quickly as possible so that the art drop page has something to look at. I might put in some of the commentary from this, although 50 something minutes of video is going to be a lot to download. It's going to take forever to go through to find those clips and stuff. So I don't know if I'll do that. I might record just a new thing in better light or something. I have no idea. Like I said, this is the first one. I've never done it. If you got to be a part of it, thank you, Amber. Nobody else showed up, so oh well. Things, I take that as feedback. If people didn't show up, there's a few things to look at. Could be a bad time. People are at work. Not everybody can attend a live streaming art dudes thing. Um, Also, like my promotion could be better. Um, I could give access to people to get to this without having to drop an email in there. Um, you know, Lots of different things. But anyway, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming, and I'll be doing more of these. So thanks. I don't know how to end this. Damn it. Cancel? No. X.